right, this is section 3.4. We are adding and subtracting mixed numbers. We want to start with the estimation, and we want to discuss that, and then we want to go into adding and subtracting of mixed numbers. Everything we've learned basically about fractions to this point is happening all in one problem for these. So let's talk about estimation first. Estimate is a number that has been rounded, and estimation or an estimate of an addition problem means both numbers that are being added together have already been rounded and then they are added together. So let's look at a number and let's talk about this for a second. So if your number is 3 2/5, right, mixed number because that's what we're talking about, we know that 3 is our whole number. We will either leave this as an estimate of 3 or we will change this to an estimate of 4. We will no longer have any fractions that go with it when we have an estimate, okay? The way that we decide this is we look at our fraction. And specifically, we look at the denominator and we see 5. We ask ourselves, what is half of 5? Well, we know that half of 4 is 2. So we would know that 5 would need to be bigger than 2, right? Because technically half of 5 is 2.5. Okay, so if our numerator is not 2.5 or bigger, then it needs to go down to 3. But if our numerator was 4, then we would round it to 4 as a whole number because it would be bigger than half, okay? So 2/5, 2 out of 5 is not half, right? 2 is not half of 5. It's almost. Since it's not, we're going to drop that off and estimate this down to 3. I know that one can be confusing, but let's try another one and see if we can make that make sense. So our actual problem is an addition problem, and it is actually 16 1/8 plus 5 5/8. And what we're going to do is we're going to take both of these different mixed numbers and we're going to have an estimate answer for it. So when I look at this, I see 1/8. What is half of 8? Half of 8 is 4. Is my numerator 4 or bigger? Right? Half or bigger. And the answer is no because it's a 1. So that means that our fraction gets dropped off and our estimate answer is just 16, right? It goes down. Plus, if I look at my other one, I see 8 as a denominator and I ask myself, what is half of 8? And we say 4. Is my numerator 4 or bigger? Yes. So that means that we're going to take our number that we had and we're going to increase it by 1, and that means that our estimate for that piece is 6. So 16 plus 6 is going to give me an estimate answer of 22. I'm going to kind of hang on to that up there, and we're going to compare our estimate answer, come here little thing, estimate answer and our actual answer together, or our exact answer. So we're going to go back and get the problem that we had, 16 1/8 plus 5 5/8. So just like in multiplying and dividing fractions, I have to change these to mixed numbers, or I'm sorry, mixed numbers into improper fractions before I can do anything. So I have to use that backwards C method for all of these. And so to do that, I have 8 times 16 plus 1. And over here I have 8 times 5 plus 5. So these became 129 over 8 and 45 over 8. Notice this was an addition problem, so I brought down my plus sign. And this is a problem of adding the numerators and bringing over the denominator. And in this case, I didn't even have to do any work to change these to match because these were already like fractions, okay? So that's why I'm just adding the numerators. When I add this together, I end up with 174 over 8. I need to divide and actually simplify. So I can simplify by dividing by 2 on top and bottom. And I end up with a fraction that is 87 over 4. 87 divided by 4 goes 2 and 1 with a remainder of 3. So 21 3/4 is my answer for this one. We have done changing mixed numbers into improper fractions. We've done this before. We've also added or subtracted when the denominators match. You just bring the denominator over and then add. We've also simplified our answers. We've also had answers that have numerators that are bigger than denominators, and we have divided and found mixed number answers. So every step of the way you have done this. So if you don't remember or you're having a hard time, I would go back through the examples from sections, everything from Unit 3 up until this point to make sure that you are on the right track. So is 21 3/4 comparable to the estimate answer of 21? Yes, because this is almost another one whole, and 21 and 1 would be 22. So yes, it's almost another whole. It's almost the exact answer. All right, let's do 8 5/8 minus 3 1/12. Okay, we need to find our estimate answer first, please. So I need to look at my first fraction, and I have 8 as a denominator. Half of 8 is 4. Is my numerator 4 or more? Yes. So my 8 increases by 1 to become a whole number of 9 as my estimate. Oops, sorry, it's not an addition problem. It is a subtraction problem. Bring down my subtract sign. I go over here and I look at my denominator of 12. Half of 12 is 6. Is my numerator 6 or bigger? No. So it stays 3. I subtract 9 minus 3 and I get an estimate answer of 6. I'm going to rewrite this problem so we can work it as an exact answer problem. Okay, we are going to use the backwards C to change these from mixed numbers into improper fractions. So 8 times 8 plus 5 and 12 times 3 plus 1. 8 times 8 is 64. 64 plus 5 is 69 over 8 minus 3 times 12 is 36 plus 1 is 37 over 12. I notice right away that my denominators do not match. I have 12 and 8 there at the bottom. And so I need to multiply those together to find a new common denominator. Now, do I realize that there are multiple ways to find a common denominator? Yes. I just don't teach the other methods as I don't feel like they are as easy. And so that's why I'm only showing this one on here. But if you know another method to go with that you end up with a right answer, I am great if you use that. So 8 times 12 gave me 96. I will multiply from bottom to top, and I would get 296. I will multiply from bottom to top over here, 69 times 12, and I get 8 to 8. So here's my 8 to 8. It's a subtraction problem, and I realize now that I have a common denominator, so I bring the denominator over, and I have 8 to 8 minus 296. I subtract and I end up with 532 over 96. I need to divide, and I end up with an answer that is 5. And so 5 times 6 is 30. That is 45. So that's 48. When I subtract here, I end up with 13. So I have 52, I believe. So this is 5 and 52 over 96. I know I need to simplify this. And so I'm going to divide by 4 on both of these. And I believe I end up with 5 and 13 24ths. So half of 24, here's where I'm talking, is 12. My numerator is greater than 12, so the estimation of that being 6 from our original problem makes a lot of sense. So my estimate answer is 6, my exact answer is 5 and 13 24ths.